كتاب الله دستوري.
Allah says in the Qur'an, and this is connected also if somebody does something bad, خُذِ الْعَفْوَ وَأَمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ. خُذِ الْعَفْوَ. Be quick in forgiving. Anybody does something bad, forgive him. وَأَمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ. And enjoin what is good. Tell people to do good things. وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. And avoid the ignorant. The ignorants are people who are fools, people who can put you into things which you don't want to go to. Then he says, وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ. If shaitan provokes you to do something which is not good, tempts you to do something which is not good, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Seek refuge from Allah, who is all-hearing and all-knowing. A shaitan always likes to get people when they are not really so much contemplating about Allah, and perhaps alone, not with the right group. So whenever you find something like that, you're about to be tempted to do something which is not good, say, A'udhubillah minash shaitanir rajim. And Allah complete that verse by saying, Innal ladhina taqaw, those who fear Allah, the pious one, idha massahum ta'ifun minash shaitan, if they get instigation from shaitan, something trying to make you do something bad, tadhakkaru, suddenly they become alert. They're about to do something bad. They said, oh, this is shaitan, this is something bad. Why should I do it? فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. And within a short time, they perceive the right way. When you are about to go wrong, you remember Allah, and you say, this is the amal of shaitan, this is what shaitan wants me to do. Then you remember Allah, and you go back to the right thing. Again, another occasion is if somebody has been doing a lot of bad things to you, what is the response usually? It's equally to do bad things. You'll think, why shouldn't I? I have the right, just like revenge. So what does Allah teach us connected to that? And when does He tell us to say, Audhubillah minash shaitanir rajim? He says, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ. Good and bad, they are not equal. Good deeds and bad deeds are not equal. idfa' billati hiya ahsan. If somebody does a bad thing to you, repel it by doing something good. The natural way for human being, it will be what? Somebody has done something bad to you, let me do also, equally. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran tells us, idfa' billati hiya ahsan. If somebody does something bad to you, repay back by doing something good. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ. Suddenly you will find that between the two, the person who had a lot of enmity, that's why he did those bad things to you, between you and him, كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. He changed and became your best friend, your bosom friend. In other words, if somebody is provoking you for things which are bad all the time, and you keep on paying back something good, at the end of the day, he even feels ashamed. And Allah may make him realize, why should I do something bad all the time to an individual who is like this? If you repay in the same manner, you are encouraging him also to do the same, and you continue doing the same. So Allah says, فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ. You will realize that the person who was doing something bad and there was a lot of enmity between you and him, turns out to be like Waliyun Hamim, the bosom friend, the best friend. But what does he say? وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا. It's not everybody can do that. Usually a human being, when you do something, somebody is doing something bad to you, you just want to pay back bad things. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا. None will be able to do that except those who are steadfast, who are very patient. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ. And nobody will be able to do that except those who have mighty good fortune, who have got a lot of iman. If the nafs instigate that you pay back badly, the iman says, no, it's not my way. I should follow the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he says, وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ. As you're trying to do that, but then you find that shaitan is coming in to encourage you to do something bad, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. Say, Audhubillah minash shaitanir rajim. Why I'm fighting myself? I want to pay something back which is better, but nafs is just telling me, because also don't forget, nafs ammaratu bisu. There are three types of nafs. One of them is ammaratu bisu, the one which instructs you to do bad things, and that is one of the nafs. And also there are nafs which is mutmainna, which is composed and it just does good things. And there is nafs which is lawama. It does good things. If you do anything bad, then it starts actually being not happy. Why did you do bad? But usually you can be the nafs al-amaratu bisu, which instructs you to do something which is bad. The other occasion, عند الغضب, when you are annoyed. غضب, when you are angry, is a very bad status. No wonder Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a hadith sahih, one of the Sahaba went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, "Awsuni ya Rasulullah, give me an advice." He said, "La taghdab, don't get annoyed." He came again and said, "Awsini ya Rasulullah." He said, "La taghdab," 3 times. فَرَدَّدَ مِرَارًا, al-hadith says. He repeated it so many times. Because you can imagine out of a ghadab, how many things can you do? You start getting annoyed. Maybe you fight with an individual, start insulting one another. Maybe in that fight you may end up killing somebody. You are annoyed within the family. You start giving divorce. You are annoyed with your children. You say things which you'll never like to say. Or even with a family, again between wife and husband. And then you regret why you said that. And that statement remains in both of you all the time. So ghadab is a very bad state. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us how to handle ghadab. This is just one way. But how we will say this one, but there is much more than that. We will try to say it a bit. It is reported by Adi ibn Thabit. He says, حدثنا سليمان ibn Surt, a hadith which says there are 2 people who were insulting one another. And Rasul was sitting with the Sahaba and he saw them. And one of them, he became so annoyed and rage and changed his color to be red, and the jugular veins were bulging out. So annoyed. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the people, he was with them, "I know a kalima, a word. If that person says, all that rage will go." Sahaba said, "What is that?" Said, "Say, A'udhubillah minash shaitanir rajim." So the Sahaba, being good people, who like actually to spread good things, one of them went straight away to that person and said, "You know Rasul what he said?" He said, "You say, A'udhubillah minash shaitanir rajim." Now we will know this, but we have to be really having a lot of iman and sabr to implement. You know that individual, what he said, even though he's a Sahaba? He said, "Inni lastu bi majnoon." I'm not a madman. And in fact, in other words, I'm a majnoon, and do you think I'm a madman? So what I'm trying to say is that anger made him react, even though the words is coming from the Prophet. He will regret later. So the intention here is, if we feel that we are really annoyed, we have to compose ourselves so that we implement what we have been told. One of them is to say, "A'udhubillah minash shaitanir rajim." Another one, in another hadith, Rasulullah says, if you are standing, sit down. If you are sitting down, lie down. And if you find you hot, you cannot bear it, go and make wudu. Because al-ghadab min ash-shaytan, ghadab comes from Satan. And Satan was created from nar, from the fire. And the fire is extinguished by water. So it is important for us to remember some of these words. Let us continue, inshallah, with these occasions. عند الوسوسة. When you have waswas, you are confused, or you feel that you are in a status where you don't feel that you are okay, read Suratul قل أعوذ برب الناس. المعوذتين is قل أعوذ برب الناس and قل أعوذ بالفلق. But قل أعوذ برب الناس has got a lot of other things which you seek refuge in Allah, as we know. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس, I seek refuge from the Lord of mankind. ملك الناس, the King of mankind. إله الناس, the ruler of the people. من شر الوسواس الخناس, from actually the mischief of the whispering of evil, who returns again and again. So we should read قل أعوذ برب الناس. Another occasion where you are recommended to read the kalima Audhubillah min ash-shaytan ar-rajim is if shaitan makes you think this way. Sometimes somebody starts thinking of Allah. Who is Allah? Okay, Allah created this and this and this. I will read the hadith. يَأْتِ شَيْطَانُ أَحَدَكُمْ فَيَقُولُ. Shaitan comes to one of you and says, Man khalaqa kada, who created this and this? And then you say it is Allah. And man khalaqa kada, and who created this? And then you start saying, Man khalaqa rabbak, who created your Lord? فَإِذَا بَلَغَ ذَلِكَ, Rasul said, when it reaches that level, فَلْيَسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ وَلْيَنْتَهِ. Let him say, A'udhu billah, this is shaitan who wants me to commit shirk, who wants me not to have the tawheed properly, and he should stop forthwith his thinking. Again, sometimes the waswasa and the confusion comes when you are in your prayers. We will mention the hadith which is reported by Rasul. I remember when I was young, in our mosque, sometimes you will have people who have a lot of waswas. They perform ablution, then they come back and start thinking, did I perform ablution properly? Goes back and perform ablution second time, maybe third time. And then come a pray. And then in the prayer, he starts making the takbiratul ihram, Allah, 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 Akbar, so many times, thinking that this should coincide with this and this. All those are waswas from shaitan. Maybe some people, you have seen those type of people. That is waswas from shaitan. And I will quote a hadith. Hadith reported by Imam Muslim, he says, عن عثمان ibn Abi al-As, he says, إن الشيطان قد حال, he went to the Prophet and said, إن الشيطان قد حال بيني وبين صلاتي. Shaitan is interfering, intervening, coming in between my salah. وقراءتي, and my recitation to confuse me. يلبسها علي, he confuses me. Then Rasul said, ذاك شيطان يقال له خنزب. That is a specific shaitan called khinsib. فإذا أحسسته, when you feel that way, فتعوذ بالله, then say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وادفل على يسارك, and spit 3 times, not necessarily anything coming out, just like that 3 times on your left side. قال ففعلت ذلك فأذهبه الله عني. I did that and I never felt that situation that I'm getting confused in my prayer. We'll try to see whether we can finish. We're just left with a few of them. عند الفزع من النوم. When you sleep and you are frightened during the sleep by a certain dream, what does Allah say in this? Allah says, إذا فزع أحدكم, in hadith al-Rasul. It is the Rasul who said, إذا فزع أحدكم في النوم فليقل. If one wakes up and he feels actually frightened, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة, he should say this word, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من غضبه وعقابه وشر عباده. I seek refuge in Allah's perfect words. من غضبه is from his anger, وعقابه is from his punishment, وشر عباده, and the evil of his creatures. Once somebody says that, then ومن حمزات الشياطين, from the whispering of the shaitan, وأن يحضرون, and that they should not approach me, فإنها لن تضره, then shaitan will not be able to harm him. The last 3 occasions which will finish up our talk is when you have a bad dream. Al-Rasul says the following, الرؤية الصالحة من الله. A good dream is from Allah, and a good dream you are allowed to talk about it. والحلم من الشيطان. A bad dream is from shaitan, and we are told in another hadith, if you have a bad dream, don't mention it, don't talk about it, just keep quiet. فَمَنْ رَأَى شَيْئًا يَكْرَهُ. Anybody who sees something in the dream which he dislikes, فَلْيَنْفِذْ عَنْ شِمَالِهِ. Let him spit on the left side 3 times. وَلْيَتَعَوَّذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ, and say أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَضُرُّهُ. It will not affect him, and this hadith is reported by Bukhari and Muslim. Another occasion, عند سماع الكلاب والحمير. When you hear the barking of the braying of the donkey and the barking of the dogs. A hadith reported by Abu Hurairah, he said, إِذَا سَمِعْتُمْ صُيَاحَ الدِّيكِ فَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. If you hear a cock crowing, then ask Allah of His bounty. فإنها رأت ملكا. It may be that he has seen an angel. Hawks are associated more with angel. وإذا سمعتم نهيق الحمار, when you hear the braying of the donkey, فتعوذ بالله من الشيطان فإنه رأى شيطانا, then you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, maybe he has seen the shaitan. The last one, عند دخول الخلاء, when you enter the toilet, there is a specific dua to keep you from shaitan and from bad things, which we all know, but maybe we forget to mention it. Ar-Rasul says, إن هذه الحشور, these toilets, محتضرة, they are really places for bad things, for evil things. فإذا أتى أحدكم الخلاء, if one of you comes to the toilet, فليقل أعوذ بالله من الخبث والخبائث, let him say that I seek refuge in Allah to keep me away from al-khubth, they say male devils, and khabaith, female devils, from the shaitan, the male ones and the female one. So these are the dua. If we try to stick to them, inshallah, shaitan will be unable to be closer to us. And these are ammunitions which have been given by Allah. It is funny if we don't stick to them, because if a nation is fighting another nation, which perhaps it feels it is weaker, it looks for a bigger nation to help. Now we have Allah who is helping us, we have Allah who has given us specific words to say, and then we neglect them, and then if shaitan defeats us, we have nobody else to blame except ourselves. May Allah keep us away from the shayateen al-jinni wal-ins, from the shaitan of the humankind and the jinns. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
كتاب الله دستوري